This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Abigail Simon, guilty.
Now at 6, emotions boiling over as a tutor is found guilty on 4 of 5 counts for sexually assaulting a 15-year-old student.
Grand Rapids Catholic Central School tutor Abigail Simon argued the student was the aggressor, but the jury did not buy it. She is now in jail and faces up to life in prison. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Susan Shaw.
And I'm Brian Sterling. We brought you live coverage of the verdict, and tonight we're hearing very strong reaction from both sides in this case.
24-Hour News 8's Ken Kolker is live at the courthouse right now. Ken?
Now we're the defense attorney team. There is Mike Manley and Clint Perriman. Now, can you talk about the verdict and how surprising that was to you?
Quite frankly, I was shocked. I certainly don't want to question the jury's integrity. They worked hard. I think they put the time into it, and that's what they thought. We're disappointed in it, and we plan to appeal.
Now, earlier you talked about, you sounded as if you were angry. I mean, you talked about, who the victim really was in this case, and you still feel strongly about that?
Very strongly. I'm so proud of Abigail Simon. She stood up to her accuser. She stood up to her attackers. She told her story, and she's at peace. She already won. She got the chance to tell her story to everybody, and I think society has said no matter what the circumstances are, that age difference is going to be illegal.
Now, we talked briefly to the victim's family, the teenager's family, who basically said that your team re-victimized him. Can you talk about that?
Abigail Simon was the victim in this case. I believed it then, I believe it now, I'll believe it tomorrow. So, I have no comment on what they say. He was subject to cross-examination. They found her not guilty on the count that he talked about, and they found her guilty on what she admitted to. So, I have no comment on how they feel.
Okay, and what are your plans as far as an appeal?
There's going to be an appeal. We have to wait until Judge Sullivan sentences her on January 6th. We're going to be preparing for the sentencing. We have reports that have been done by certified psychologists and psychiatrists that we're going to be presenting to the judge. And he's been fair throughout the whole process, and we hope he's going to continue to be fair. We know he will be.
And the sentence guidelines are kind of high in this, from what I understand?
Well, it's criminal sexual conduct in the first degree. They're very high.
Okay, so you're talking prison time.
It's mandatory prison time. So, there is no probation, there is no county jail. It's a mandatory prison offense.
Okay, well, that's the defense team for Abigail Simon. Now, we also spoke earlier to the detective, one of the lead detectives who worked on this case, who also had some angry reaction.
The level of victim bashing and victim blaming and throwing this family, not only the victim but the family, under the bus on over and over and over is unprecedented in my 18 years. I've never seen anything to that degree. And we are happy, obviously we're satisfied with the verdict. We're happy that the case is over and this victim and his family can go back and try to live a normal life.
Now, Abigail Simon is supposed to be back in court January 6th for sentencing. As you heard from her attorney, she'll face at least some mandatory prison time. In the meantime, she's remanded to the Kent County Jail. Live in Grand Rapids, Ken Kolker, 24-Hour News 8.
And Ken, pivoting off those comments about the victim, how would you best describe his demeanor in court? Is it fair to say he was traumatized, or how would you describe his demeanor?
Well, quite often we were down in the media room covering this trial, so sometimes it was difficult to see. Now, his family says he's devastated by this. I mean, they talked about, there was chanting at football games when he was playing and that sort of thing, saying, they're saying he was re-victimized.
So he's still living with this, obviously, as well. Ken Kolker reporting live for us from the courthouse tonight. Ken, thank you.
Let's take a look at the breakdown of the verdict now. Abigail Simon was found guilty on 3 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct and a charge of accosting a minor for immoral purposes. The jury found Simon not guilty on 1 count of first-degree criminal sexual conduct.
And the Catholic Diocese of Grand Rapids just sent out a statement about this verdict, reading, quoting here, "We're pleased to see this process come to a close and believe the jury reached the appropriate verdict. We recognize, however, the grave sadness in the situation, and we pray for peace, healing, and reconciliation for the individuals and families involved." We have a number of crews at the courthouse working to get further reaction for you. We will have live coverage for you tonight on your 24-hour news 8 at 10 and 11.